We are talking about Master Roshi and whether or not he would get cancelled in today's day and age if Dragon Ball was released now. So, yeah, first thoughts I think is pretty obvious as a yes, but let's talk about it. So, original Dragon
I
Ball
think,
was released in 1986. You've got to remember, it's a different time, way back when, and things were different, and the PC culture wasn't as bad back then. But yeah, what do you think about Master Roshi?
yeah, I think especially in OG Dragon Ball, he was really bad back then.
Hmm.
I think, I think I was when we originally talked about it. I know specifically in Super, they went out their way. I mean, there was a mini arc where they actually redeemed him, I suppose.
Yeah.
They actually went out their way to make him redeem his questionable qualities.
Hmm.
Except they did it in the worst way possible by locking him in a room to deal with his urges by basically locking him away with Poir.
Yeah, poor
They
poor.
have Poir as a as a woman, and it's just like that's the weirdest way possible they could have done that.
Yeah, it's like, what type of therapy is this? What are they putting him through? You know,
Like
what are they putting Poir through in all of
absolutely,
this?
like Master Roshi might have been fixed, but that'll haunt Poir forever.
Yeah, what type of things did
Oh,
Poir witness when transformed? Oof.
like why did they deserve that of all things?
Yeah.
But I mean, so they obviously recognize that they can't keep have Master Roshi doing that, and
Mm.
especially some of the things he was doing back in original Dragon Ball. I mean, the original introduction for Goku was was the probably the prime example, I would suppose.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, there was a lot of moments in original Dragon Ball that were questionable. Like the first time Krillin is introduced to Master Roshi, he kind of bribes him with dirty magazines to let him train, which works. And that's kind of like, okay, Master Roshi is this type of character. Okay. And they don't try to hide that fact in any point during original Dragon Ball, during Dragon Ball Z, or even during Super. Like you've just mentioned, they try to fix him, but they still recognize he is just a dirty old man. Except it's kind of accepted in the show and just in general that, yeah, Master Roshi's a bit of a dirty old man, but that's just him. He's a funny guy, but it's like, also, hmm, should this be allowed? The type of things he does, is it not extremely questionable? And, I think, I personally feel, even though I love Master Roshi as a character, overall, these actions are something that, if this show was released today, it wouldn't fly. Not at all.
no, no, it would be like if someone said like there's this brand like there's the big animes at the minute, so things like Demon Slayer and everything like
Mm.
that everybody's talking about, and they're
Mhm.
all over Netflix and everybody loves them. If Dragon Ball got released like that, it had never been on, and then you had a character like Master Roshi, he would be all over Twitter trending straight away.
Yeah.
He would be the focus of it,
Because
and
imagine
it wouldn't be Goku.
trying to pitch him as a character for a new show. Say like, okay, right, we want to train the main guy with this old man, except we're gonna make him this really old perverted guy who reads dirty magazines, watches stuff on TVs, tries to touch women and everything. But he's a good guy, and we're supposed to find him funny, and we're supposed to like him. It's like, is that gonna work? Hmm. Like
I
some of the things
mean,
he does are
is it?
extremely questionable. One of the worst ones being in original Dragon Ball in my eyes is that when he's trying to train Goku and Krillin, and Launch is also on the island, he buys Launch lingerie just because he wants to see her dressed up, and he tells her that it's a training outfit, and to kind of prove to her that that is what it is, him, Goku, and Krillin all wear the same lingerie outfit to train in, and it's like, no, this is just him being a massive pervert. And when Launch transforms into blonde Launch, she realizes this because she's not as dim-witted and tries to shoot him, which is fair enough and a reasonable response, I think. And yeah, I miss Launch.
I don't know, like, I think the one blackmailing Bulma to see her underwear
Yeah,
is probably worse, especially when Bulma hadn't realized that Goku had stolen her underwear.
yeah. I mean, speaking of Bulma,
the entire storyline there is just wrong. Never mind just the Master Roshi part of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's
What
done a
was this
lot of
show
stuff.
back then when you think about it?
Yeah, imagine, like, again, going back to original Dragon Ball, Bulma in this is early teenager, and this old man who lives by himself with a turtle is kind of just hanging around with her a lot. And there's even one point where he transforms himself to be really small and sneaks into the bathroom while she's in there. This happens twice, not just one time, twice. One when she's trying to use the toilet, one where she's trying to take a bath. And yeah, the first time wasn't bad enough. He goes back for it a second time, and it's like, come on. For the time, maybe understandable, funny humor, haha, that he fails and what he's trying to do, but also just thinking about it in retrospect, extremely creepy, and this cannot happen at all. This should not happen.
And I think it's even when he's trying to be like a really good teacher, like he's doing the Jackie Chun the tournament, and it's like, so he's trying to teach him a very moral lesson, and it's like, it's quite there's meaning behind it, and it's like, it's a genuine lesson and everything like that. It's like, as soon as Krillin throws a pair of underwear at him, it all goes out the window. He just jumps at the underwear and ignores Krillin.
Yeah.
Screw the lesson, screw anything that was important, underwear.
Yeah. They play up to his character more in Super by trying to redeem him, like you said, but also when it's almost like a fighting technique to him now to be pervy towards women fighters. Like when he takes on Yurin from Tien's dojo, he's basically intimidating her by being a pervert. And when her like strap breaks on her outfit, he's like, I'm gonna warn you, some stuff might happen and it's not my fault. And it's like, what? And then he's going in for the attack like this with his like claws up, and it's like, what is this? What is happening here? And she's terrified and tries to run away. And the same thing happens in the Tournament of Power as well. He does a similar thing in the tournament to one of the fighters, and it works because he eliminates her. And Beerus even says, "Well done, old man. Keep it up." It's like, I mean, yeah, he's using this for the goodness of the universe, I guess, but also questionable in how he's doing it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like even the way he's saying it there, but the actual actions that he's taking, like in Z as well, like actually grabbing at people, he actually is physically doing it in Z. Like with the whole Bulma thing as a teenager, he does that to Videl in up on the tower when they're hiding from Boo. Basically, he goes to thank her and he walks all the way up to her and basically just prods her right in the middle of the chest. Clearly looking down at her chest, just prodding away. And obviously Videl's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then Piccolo's walking Boo about, obviously trying to kill time. And so you've got Krillin and Bulma, and they're all cuddled in a circle talking. Basically, just focus on Master Roshi's hands, and he's just basically just stroking and grabbing Bulma's butt. And it literally focuses on Bulma absolutely raging and foaming. And it just focuses on Master Roshi just giggling and laughing away like a creep. And it's just like, you clearly showing that he's exactly the same person as he was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like you haven't tried anything, and it's just like brilliant.
Like, imagine if this was live action and not animated. No one would like the character. No one would care if he's a cool martial artist and he's funny sometimes. These actions alone would make him hated, despised. I think in animation you can almost get away with it just for the fact it is animated. But
Yeah.
even then, the things he does is just completely wrong. Ah,
I think also because it's anime as well,
hmm,
it helps a lot, because anime, there's a lot of exaggerated features and everything like that.
yeah.
When someone gets bonked on the head and things like that, and obviously the exaggerated backgrounds and their eyes pop out the head
Hmm.
and everything like that.
The
Like,
nosebleeds.
oh yeah, yeah. Like, I think a lot of the exaggeration of it, that lets you get away with a lot more.
Hmm.
He would definitely get cancelled. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I think especially back in the time, it was more accepted, I guess, kind of, especially because the show was catered towards boys and teenagers. And, as a teenager, they're catering to the audience. They bring in an attractive looking female, and then, they have to put some sort of appeal there, and the only way they can do it is by having this character who will act out on these impulses, and to see him always fail in a comedic way is a way to get around it and to make it seem not so bad. Whereas, for young teenagers watching at the time, they'll be thinking, yeah, go Master Roshi, I wish I was him right now, I want to be doing this. But yeah, that's how they got around it, and it works. It does work, I guess, but it doesn't make it less less
Maybe,
bad.
yeah.
I guess creepy. Yeah,
I
still.
think he is a staple of Dragon Ball.
Mm,
I mean, he's never going anywhere. He's been there since the start.
yeah,
He's Roshi's rant, isn't he?
yeah,
Like, he is a staple of Dragon Ball. You
mm,
can't have Dragon Ball without Master Roshi.
mm,
It's just like you can't have him without Krillin. It's
mm,
not just Goku Dragon Ball.
yeah,
It's not Goku show.
mm,
Um, even though it feels like that sometimes.
yeah,
Um, so, but they have started to try to adapt them to the modern age. You can
mm,
tell, and they've done that with Super. And yeah, whilst they have done it in a very creepy way with Pot, um, they have made it so that he's more reasonable, because it's actually what he actually says when he eliminates that last in the Tournament of Power, is that he's overcame those desires. Because
mm,
I recently just watched a clip. I've wasted so many years with those frivolous desires, and I've got all that pent up energy is now built up, and it's now overflowing. And it sounded kind of creepy, but when you actually listen to the context, it kind of makes it sound like he's kind of sounds like he's just kind of saying he's full of new life,
mm,
almost. And so hopefully it means there's going to be more Master Roshi,
yeah,
but in a new way,
mhm,
in like a mentor type way, in the way that we used to see Master Roshi.
yeah,
And the reason that he came into the Tournament of Power in the first place, and why Goku brought him in the first place,
mm,
because he saw that he'd been training, and that he was a bit of a beast. And to be fair, he did flex in the Tournament of Power.
mhm,
For an old man, he got some eliminations. He did more than some other people.
yeah. And you've got to remember, like, I guess if the show was to come out today and they changed up the Master Roshi character to remove these characteristics from him, and he is just this old wise mentor who trains Goku, and that's it. There's nothing else really to him. I think he would be a bit of a bland character. And even though if you're coming in fresh to watch Dragon Ball now and you see Master Roshi for the first time, you might be thinking, "Oh wow, okay, this is a really out there character." But he has those characteristics to him which make him stand out, and he's different. And you can hate him, you can dislike him. That's fine. You know, he is meant to be a good guy, but also if you wanted to hate him, that makes sense. And story wise, it still works because Bulma is around him, but continuously hates him pretty much. Um, you know, constantly slapping him down, constantly winning, I guess, against everything that he tries. Same with every other female character in the show. So you can see it almost as a win that he is constantly losing. But if they remove those characteristics, I think as a character, he would be pretty boring and lackluster, and he wouldn't have the same effect because he becomes generic in a way, where he is just this old wise master who is good at martial arts. He trains Goku and Krillin, and that's kind of it. He has a few
He's a
techniques.
cliche.
Yeah, he's a cliche.
Yeah.
He is, yeah, Eye of the Tiger,
How
all
many
that
times have
stuff.
you heard
Mr.
of the
Miyagi.
wise old man?
Yeah,
Yeah. How many times have you heard of the wise old man who knows all the martial arts? It's like
exactly. Yeah.
it's just
I mean, that was
no.
obviously
I think
inspiration, but they also made him unique by
yeah,
not being so bland.
yeah. It's like yeah, like the wise old man is always is it's a story time itself. It's just you have to add something to it.
Mm.
Like and they obviously did and it was of the times and and they've kept with the times and they obviously recognize that they couldn't get away with it much longer
Yeah.
because there's a younger audience watching Super, and I imagine they probably saw that. I reckon it's probably something to do with maybe parents of these people would probably maybe notice and they might get
Mm.
in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they just couldn't be bothered to write them that way or didn't feel like they wanted to write them that way.
Mm.
Or maybe they just felt like going in that direction. I don't know why they did address it. Maybe they just wanted to go that way.
It
I don't know, but they have addressed it. They have changed it.
Mm. It also kind of helps the fact
Um,
that in original Dragon Ball, he was a main character, not a side character. He was around constantly, just as important as Krillin, who was the second main character of the show. And so he got a lot of screen time, and you had to show off his personality more, which is why most of these things that he did is in original Dragon Ball. In Dragon Ball Z, he gets demoted to a side character because of all of the new Saiyans and all of the other characters coming into the show as well. And he gets less screen time. But when he is shown, they kind of need to show him as still being there and still being that same type of character. So there is these perverted moments that he has, but he's not around as much. And then in Super, he's been demoted even more because even the side characters aren't involved too much in Super. It is mainly all about Goku and Vegeta throughout all of Super. So when you're bringing in Master Roshi, yeah, they need to change him to keep up with the times. So I'm glad they did it. I think having this whole power scene was a bit weird and maybe a bit over the top, but I'm glad they did it, and they can bring Master Roshi back properly now going forward, especially with the Tournament of Power stuff. He did so well. He had probably the best episode during the Tournament of Power. And yeah, I want to see more of him going forward. Although I don't really know what they can do with him. You know, most of the characters have new transformations and skills they can learn. Master Roshi is kind of peaked already. Unless they just say, well, because he's not focused on girls anymore, he's had all this time to do new training and has learned all these new techniques. Maybe, but we'll see.
I think it's not a power thing. I think it's a training thing. It's a training based thing. It's a mentality thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a focused thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows how to take it from a like Whis isn't teaching Goku and Vegeta fighting techniques, is he? He's training them how to learn or how to potentially learn Ultra Instinct. It's like they could put it down that alleyway. The same for Master Roshi. Not direct fighting, but mentalities.
Yeah. You can
Never know.
argue, though, that Master Roshi won't train Goku anymore. Definitely not.
Yeah,
And
true.
all of
You
the
could be
other,
past that one.
yeah, all of the other, all of the other humans in the entire show are on level with Master Roshi at this point. I don't think he's really stronger than any of them, to be honest. So I don't think he'll be training anyone. Like, uh, Tien's got his own dojo now. Krillin's doing his own thing. Yamcha isn't really interested in fighting as much anymore. It's like, unless they bring in a new character for Roshi to train, he's not really going to be doing much training.
I don't know. Like I think Roshi showed a lot, Goku a lot when he showed he'd been training.
Hmm.
I think he flexed quite a lot, and I think that's why Goku wanted him there,
Yeah.
and he demonstrated that strength wasn't everything.
Hmm.
I think that's the important thing about Master Roshi is he's clever.
Yeah,
He's not
that's true.
strong, he's very clever.
That's true.
Um,
But
there's a
overall,
reason he's always been there,
yeah,
and there's a reason he's as old as he is.
that's true. Because of the magazines, that keeps him young at heart.
Very
But
true, very true.
overall, I think we can agree that if he was around, if it
He's
was
a
just
bad
starting
lad.
today, he is a bad lad. He would get cancelled. He wouldn't survive. Um, but we're both glad he's turned a new leaf, and hopefully that continues going forward. So, yeah, I think we're done with that. So let's move on now to the Hall of Fame.